key thing is how the environment might cause chronic stress. Will suffered from anxiety and then depression. In April 2018, Will took his own life. Here in the UK, children get 65% of their calories from ultra-processed food. Put down the phone, get out and do things. Good sleep hygiene.
It's not rocket science.
It's a no-brainer. If people are having fun, they will be more innovative, more productive.
You build the business model based on your stakeholders' expectations.
Exactly. My purpose is really to change the way in which mental health is addressed.
Hoy hacemos escala en Cambridge, UK, para conversar con Peter Templeton, fundador de The Foundation for Young People's Mental Health, un líder comprometido en mejorar la salud mental de las nuevas generaciones a través de la ciencia, la colaboración y la empatía. Bienvenidos al Viaje del Líder.
Estamos acá en el corazón de Cambridge, en Silicon Fen, donde vamos a hacer una entrevista muy única. Aquí se encuentra Peter Templeton. Él sirvió por 14 años como director ejecutivo para el YPMH Engage. Ahí nos va a explicar qué es, cómo está vinculado a la Universidad de Cambridge, pero hoy nos trae algo con un propósito tremendamente inspirador y de alto impacto. Hoy está liderando como fundador de la William Templeton Foundation for Young Kids Mental Health. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Yes. So here we are, live from Cambridge. It's going to be my first interview program in English, so thank you for your time, Peter.
It's a pleasure.
We have some conversation offline. I'm already inspired. So first, explain what's the connection between manufacturing and mental health? How do you connect both?
That's a really good question. When I first became involved in mental health, it became clear that there's been a huge amount of research done over the last 20 or 25 years into the social, the psychological, and the biological things that cause mental ill health. But it was evident that they weren't joined up, not just between social and biological, but even within the biological systems. There's good work in the immune system, good work in the gut microbiome, good work in neurobiology, but no one had joined it up. And so I thought, as a chemical engineer, could I apply root cause analysis to start with the conditions that are most closely associated with mental ill health in the brain, and we took depression as a worked example, and work back from the changes to brain structure and volume and changes to brain chemistry, and worked back through the brain systems, the body systems, so the immune system, stress response, gut microbiome, genes, and how they're turned on and off, to identify how that system of systems all works together. And then we worked back, linking to the psychological characteristics and the wider social and societal factors that affect an individual's options, choices, and actions.
So it's like you're taking the principles from manufacturing.
Exactly.
It makes total sense because it's root analysis, it's 5 why, it's all
exactly
makes total sense.
Yes.
It kind of like, well, you have you studied chemical engineering.
I studied chemical engineering, yes. And I suppose the advantage of chemical engineering is it gave me the confidence to be able to look at the biological systems in the brain, in the body, as basically a very complicated chemical plant with inputs, reactions, outputs, and so on. And then the key thing was joining these all up. And so what we now have is a model that we call the vulnerability factor and mechanisms model, which starts with social and societal factors, so things like an individual's relationships with family and carers, friends, their environment, whether it's a school, employer, university or prison environment, the community in which they live, how safe it is, what opportunities are there, what transport is there, for example, through to government policy, regulation, national, regional culture. And then those things determine the options and choices that an individual has around, for example, food and nutrition, exercise, sleep, substance use, and social isolation and loneliness. And also a key thing is how the environment might cause chronic stress, or might cause stress. And
or the environment costs?
Well,
what do you think?
It depends on the individual, you see.
Really?
An individual psychological characteristics will influence how they respond to stressful context. So one individual might perceive stress being more significant or less significant depending on their psychological characteristics.
The same environment affect differently.
Yes. And then the stress response would go on to potentially cause raised levels of the stress hormone cortisol. And in a short-term situation, that stress hormone is a positive thing in fight or flight.
Right.
So it's essential. But when it is at a raised level for a long period of time, then it causes all kinds of disruption within the stress response system.
What happened to me? I mean, sustained cortisol effect turns into, in my case, I'm lactose intolerant.
The typical changes are increased inflammation, and also reduced neurogenesis, so that reduced birth of new neurons due to chronic raised cortisol levels. So that's just one example. But
so you were leading this manufacturing the IFM Engage, and now you're leading a mental health for kids foundation. So when or where was the eureka moment? We know that at the Eagle they discovered the DNA double helix. So do you remember when this connection happened?
Yes. So my wife and I have two boys, John and Will, and Will suffered from, first of all, anxiety and then depression. And we thought he was getting better, but in April 2018, Will took his own life. Like so many parents who go through this very difficult situation, my wife and I decided to set up a charity to try to make sure that others don't have the same experience. And I thought, based on, I guess, three things. One, my background in chemical engineering. Two, my nearly 20 years then in university industry knowledge transfer. And three, a lot of background in innovation management. I thought, can we actually do something to accelerate the translation of research, which is, evidently sort of a lot has been done in the last 20 years into interventions that then can be used at scale. And so, yes, Will's passing was the pivotal moment.
How old was he?
He was 18.
18.
Yeah. So, and he was a wonderful, wonderful boy. But I think, and none of the conventional explanations sort of seem to fit with Will's situation. I mean, that he seemed to have a lot of chronic inflammation, and none of the psychological issues that are associated with someone taking their own life. And so that got me thinking. Around that time, Professor Ed Bullmore published a book called The Inflamed Mind, which strongly made the association between inflammation and depression. And that got me thinking, well, this is a new approach. I think it could be inflammation
connected to depression, and the inflammation mainly because of the way we eat, the type of food.
Things. Many things.
But what percentage is the food that we eat?
My
is there
guess,
a study?
Talking to Felice Jacker, who's a eminent professor in this field in Australia, I think Felice believes it's around a third. Depression cases are related to food and nutrition.
A third.
Yeah. And with our move towards, over the last 20 years or so, the ultra-processed food environment, that's a significant contributing factor. But it's not just that. So it could be an inflammatory condition. So in older people, things like rheumatoid arthritis are very pro-inflammatory. And that seems to be associated with depression in older people, for example. And there are other factors as well, which can be pro-inflammatory, but food is a significant one.
So at that time, you were leading the IFM Engage, and then you said, "That's it, enough. I'm going to quit and fully dedicated to the foundation."
Well, I could see the potential of applying some of the methods that have been researched at the IFM and then applied by the knowledge transfer company IFM Engage to develop a better approach to mental health and in particular accelerating the translation of research into innovations which are then used at scale. So I stepped aside as CEO of IFM Engage and basically now divide my time between IFM, where I'm executive director of Engage, but also the charity. And the collaboration started between the charity and the IFM Engage in 2019, and it's been hugely productive in developing a set of structured methods to accelerate the translation of research to deliver real impact. And so we broadly got 3 stages. First stage is understand how mental health conditions develop across the social, the biological, the psychological elements, and then systematically look at the different care stages, so prevention, early detection, diagnosis, and treatment, and then use that systematic approach to ideate with stakeholders how we could prevent, detect, etc., the particular condition. So that's understand. The second is innovate, and that's about innovating specific innovations. It's about innovating portfolios of innovations. So a portfolio might be a range of things for prevention. It might be a range of things for early detection or diagnosis or treatment. Or it could be a portfolio for schools, for employers, for public health, for primary care, and so on. And then the third stage is implementation. So how do we implement in an organization to affect sustainable change? And so it's a form of change management for use within organizations to improve mental health. And we're piloting that at the moment. Then the second area is change for individuals and families. So how do people develop the motivation, the capability, and the opportunity, for example, to eat or plan, buy, or otherwise access, prepare, and consume mentally healthful food? And so that's a very interesting piece of work. But the whole idea is to accelerate getting the research into practical interventions, which are then applied at scale.
Into the family.
Exactly.
Into my house.
Exactly. Or into the school, the university.
Yeah. Eventually, it goes to the family, to the person.
Exactly.
It's turning. I was listening to the story. It's turning business from business to purpose.
Exactly.
Totally.
Absolutely.
It's the title of your book would be From Business to Purpose.
Yes.
What would you say to a father, to a mother that's might be going to a business leader, a CEO. It's a person, right?
Yes, yeah. Yep.
They're watching this program, CEO, founders. They're persons like us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That might be going through a tough time with their own kids, with depression, with anxiety. I mean, it happened to me. My daughter went through a period of time that she was depressed. She was depressed because she was suffering at school, and I'm connecting the dots. I mean, she was suffering in school, environment.
Yes.
She wasn't eating well, fries, burgers, diet, drinks, or whatever. So it's like a bomb. I mean, it's what would you say to us?
I know working with a young person to effect change is a very challenging thing to try to do. However, I think the key vulnerability factors for many young people are around exercise and movement, for example. So with our increased use of devices, whether it's phones, tablets, and so on, the amount of movement that a child or young person does now is much less than it used to be. And that affects pretty much all of the upstream biological mechanisms that potentially contribute to depression. So diplomatically working with the young person to get them to put down the phone and get out and do things. And exercise is not just about, let's say, going to the gym. It's also about social connectedness. It's about mastery. And so the combination of exercise for physical movement plus the social, plus the mastery angles are all really important components of helping a young person to develop a more resilience. The second factor is food. Ultra-processed food, where here in the UK, on average, children get 65% of their calories from ultra-processed food. And some foods are more processed than others, but generally ultra-processed foods have less fiber diversity, less micronutrients, and they contain more disruptors like emulsifiers, endocrine disruptors, and so on. And trying to encourage a young person to eat whole, minimally processed foods, that will help because it reduces inflammation. It gets the gut microbiome functioning properly, so it produces neurotransmitters and other things that sustain mental well-being. So the food nutrition is absolutely key. Thirdly, sleep. Good sleep hygiene, no phones in the bedroom, so there aren't distractions during the night. And then also looking for things that might be causing stress, particularly chronic stress. So are there social situations, bullying at school, and so on. And so by understanding those individual vulnerability factors for one's own child, and then working collaboratively with the young person to mitigate those, that should provide a foundation. Now, depending on the severity, obviously that may not be sufficient, and that may need help from a clinical psychologist with talking therapies and so on, or indeed in severe cases with antidepressants. But getting antidepressants should be a short-term solution, not a 30-year solution.
Right.
And it's about re-establishing the basics of food and nutrition, exercise and movement, sleep, and stress reduction in order to establish those fundamentals and getting the upstream regulatory system, so microbiome, gene expression, immune system, endocrine system.
It's so needed.
Well.
Thank you for this 4 recommendations, right? I took note the way we eat the food, right? You talk about the food. You talk about the first one you talk about was
exercise.
Yep. Exercise, food. Talk about environment.
Yep.
That's another fundamental. So I'm going to have my daughter to watch this program, and it's easier to reach your forecast, to reach your EBITDA, than to move your kids. It's
absolutely.
It's really challenging.
It's really challenging.
I mean, I was listening to you say, I mean, I have a big task. I mean, it's really big because now what's the message to the kids? Okay, you gave us the message. Okay, now what would you say to a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid who's going through this?
Yes.
And how they figure out how they figure out that they're going through this period, right?
Yes.
Awareness.
Yes.
And secondly, once you realize that you are, which is tough, you are 18, you don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
I don't know how does it work in an 18-year-old mind. This concept.
It's a long time since I've been 18.
I know, but you're studying.
Yeah.
Your foundation is about that.
It is. I think the first thing that we're trying to do is to provide authoritative, easy to access information that is evidence-based, so that parents can understand the risk factors and mechanisms at a simplified level, so that they can encourage the young person to sort of move in the right direction. Now, obviously, a young person in distress is not often open and receptive to this information. But if it comes from so we're endeavouring to produce accessible information, and we're actually just beginning a collaboration with a group of schools based in and around Cambridge for, first of all, the staff and the parents, but then next year information for young people. So we're going to be getting accessible information out to the community so that the understanding becomes more widely spread. And if we can get that clear, simple, authoritative, evidence-based information out there, then I hope we can make a difference. And so if the information is coming, let's say, not just from the parent, but from school, from parents, from colleagues, from peers in a school environment,
right.
then I think we have more of a chance. But it's a long, slow process.
Is it fair to say that if a teenage eats well, sleeps well, does exercise, and does not abuse from the cell phone, chances are that he won't suffer mental health
It
issues?
gives a much more robust foundation.
It won't hurt.
It won't. No, it certainly won't hurt. And the other thing is social connectedness. And so it's not always easy for young people to make friends, but creating an environment, whether it's a school environment or a family environment, in which young people can make friends and build quality relationships, that's another important factor.
So we are peers. So I want to ask you, this is a very personal question, because I'm having trouble with my daughter, trying her to eat well. Well, she does sleep well. That's the good thing. And she's good at social connections. But sometimes I ask myself, should I push her? Should I force her to eat well? Should I force her to do sports? And it's a tricky question, because I know that it's good. Yep. We know that it's good, really good. Now listening to you, it's not only good, it's needed, it's basic, but I don't want to push her away from me. So
there's a really interesting and I think useful model for individual behavior change. It's called the COM-B model, COM-B. So basically you need three things to enable individual behavior change. One is motivation,
Okay.
but motivation by itself isn't sufficient. Secondly, there has to be opportunity. And thirdly, there has to be capability. So we take the example of food. The motivation would typically come from by understanding what is mentally helpful food and what it does to one's body, which in turn helps the mind, can create a sense of motivation. It's not the only thing, but getting that motivation is vital. But then if they don't have the opportunity to access that mentally helpful food, then that becomes a problem. And so let's say serving fresh or minimally processed foods at home at least may give the young person access.
Right, the opportunity.
But then as the young person moves, say, from school to university,
Right.
then they also need to have the capability to plan, to buy or otherwise access, prepare and consume mentally helpful food. And one of the challenges we have in the UK is that young people are increasingly, I think, unable to cook. We don't have very much in the way of cooking classes in school, for example. And so having the capability to plan, buy, prepare and consume mentally helpful food is an important competence. And maybe sort of engaging the young person in cooking at home is a good thing.
No, and leaders in our companies, we also had to encourage this type of mentality, right? Like sleeping well, eating well,
Yep.
social connections, put away your phone, because we are humans everywhere, not just at home.
Exactly. And I mean, in the workplace,
the environment is already tough.
I think there is an opportunity for workplaces to make a difference
Totally.
to the mental health of their employees. And in part, it addresses the food and nutrition, opportunities to exercise, also instruction on or guidance on substance use, that sort of thing. But in addition, it's about developing a culture of empowering the individual and driving out bullying behaviors.
Right.
Because it's the bullying behaviors that will lead to chronic stress. And now some roles are naturally more stressful than others. So I had 10 years in business-to-business sales in the software industry. And in a quarterly driven NASDAQ-based company, that can be quite stressful. You've got to make your numbers every quarter. And some people have the psychological characteristics to enjoy and thrive in that environment. Others may find it less good for their health. And so, but having a leadership culture whereby individuals are equipped and empowered, and bullying isn't tolerated. And yes, we have challenging targets. We all need to have challenging targets to drive the business forward. But if those are structured in a way and managed in a way which is empowering to the individual, then it becomes much less stressful.
It's a tough conversation to have, because sometimes this bully or this pressure comes from the CEO, right? So you have the human resources department doing this conversation, and then you have the CEO pushing the team, and it's coherence, right? We need alignment from the top.
Yes.
But it's interesting because we have conversation about how we eat in the company, right? How we eat. They're simple conversation that can impact so profound in a person.
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean,
it is amazing.
We have a big opportunity, big responsibility, but we have a big task. I mean, this conversation I'm hearing, and in Latin America, we are years away from this. years away from talking about food, talking about, well, we are good at social connections. I think that the Latinos connect really well.
Yes.
That part is checked.
Yes.
But the food, the phone, I mean, in some countries the connectivity is over 90%. I mean, 90% of the people in a country are connected or have more than one phone. Huge percentage. So yeah, now that's a big tax. So Peter, you are an inspiration leader. You are a mentor from others. So who inspires you? Who is that leader, that mentor that appreciates you during your toughest times and still has an impact in the way that you lead today?
I came up through initially engineering and then in the IT sector in a sort of pretty much in the commercial side in a very quarterly driven environment. And in 2003, I joined the Institute for Manufacturing to basically take on the IFM's knowledge transfer company to move it from being a grant-funded organization to something that was commercially self-sustaining. And Professor Mike Gregory, now Professor Sir Mike Gregory, was head of the Institute for Manufacturing. He, in fact, set it up in the late 90s. And Mike was a real inspiration. Wow. And one of the things that I learned from Mike was the importance of having fun. And he would use as one of his barometers was the amount of laughter in the coffee room. And if people are having fun, they will be more innovative, more productive, and that was great. And also Mike taught me many other things, but and to be away from a quarterly driven environment to an environment where what we should do is add value for the university was a big mindset change. And that was also very, very empowering. It's a bit like being in a privately held company without the NASDAQ quarterly driven.
Right. It's kind of like unique, right? Because the IFM, it's part of the university. What's the connection?
It's a wholly owned subsidiary.
Right.
Yeah.
So but then you need to generate businesses.
Yes.
Very unique.
So there was a need to generate business such that the company was financially self-sufficient, didn't depend on grants from from donors and so on, but also we had to meet the needs of the different stakeholders. And one of the really interesting things in a company in the IFM is the complexity of the stakeholder environment. So different stakeholders, different researchers or heads of research groups or head of the institute would have different needs and aspirations for the company. And the first thing I did was go and talk to those people, both frontline researchers, managers of groups, and as well as Mike Gregory, and basically understand what their needs and aspirations were for the company. And some would say, well, I want my research disseminated and used. Others would say, I would like to generate income to fund the research centre going forward, because they would have big grants which would come to an end, and then under the contract research system, they would have to let the researchers go, which is very disruptive for the team and for the individuals. And then Mike wanted us to have impact and really be seen as helping to improve industry globally. And so we constructed a business model that enabled us to do that, taking the research from the management and government policy side of the IFM and codifying it such that it can be applied to address real industrial problems, whether it's reconfiguring a global production or supply network, or automation strategies for major corporations, through to helping small and medium-sized enterprises with their business strategy, for example.
Very interesting that what you just explained, it's you, let me correct if I'm wrong, you build the business model based on your stakeholders' expectations.
Exactly.
So interesting. I mean, the main person that learns from this conversation, it's me. I mean, I'm learning a lot because I'm listening to you say it makes total sense. Let's identify stakeholders, sit with them, just try to do the research on what are the expectations, and if you can meet them, you have a successful business model.
Yes.
It's tough. I know it's not easy.
So there's the internal stakeholder side, and the IFM, it was a sort of complex environment. Then you have the wider university environment as well.
One stakeholder is over 800 years old.
Yeah, exactly. But the other important thing is to recognize the different customer types, whether it's government, major corporations, small and medium size, or startups. And so we had to understand both the internal stakeholders and the customer needs. But we were able to do that. And so I started on the journey in 2003, and by about 2008-09, so even through the financial crash, we we became profitable, and were able to gift the profits back to the university to fund research at the IFM.
But it took 6 years almost.
Yeah.
Patient.
Yes. But I mean, we were
humor and patience.
Humor and patience, absolutely, and very generous philanthropic donor who believed in what Mike was doing, and they were able to support the company. But they were very clear.
But one company or one person?
It was an individual with a large trust.
Really?
Yes.
Can I ask how much money is he?
It was
not the name, but
a small number of millions.
For us, it's a huge number. Wow.
Yeah.
He supported through the first years.
Yes, both IFM Engage, but also the wider IFM.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the biggest recognition you ever received in your career that impacts in your life, in your leadership style? You got many, so I know it's tough to. I mean, when I ask the question to the interview, it's tough because they have many. But
I suppose the one of the most rewarding things was actually seeing the impact of what we were doing as IFM Engage on industry, and under the UK higher education research funding system, we had to report impact, and the transformation of a major corporation's global production network, for example, had a major impact, and then also the road mapping and innovation management. So that was the end result of I guess leadership, development of a business model, building a team, engaging the team, and hopefully having fun along the way, and then working with some great customers as well, and just seeing that whole system work to have real benefit for the companies, but also for the university, because the university is assessed on its impact.
So this is a very symbolic question, okay? So one of our partners, our co-producer of this program, is LATAM Airlines, which is a major airline company in Latin America. And thanks to them, we're here. So they support. We also have someone who's supporting this initiative. Absolutely. We always need supporters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this question is, let's imagine for a minute that you have all the miles. You know that this miles program from the airlines, LATAM has their mile programs. It's called LATAM Pass. It's a mile program. So imagine that you have all the miles available.
Yes.
Okay? What's that what's something important that you'll be able to change all this smile for?
I suppose my purpose going forward is really to change the way in which mental health is addressed. And if I could make that a reality, that is my purpose. And changing it, and so we have this concept of the mental health innovation catalyst. So we, as IFM Engage and the charity, want to provide the focal point and the tools and the methods to actually effect that translation of research into innovative interventions that will change the world of mental health at scale.
So it's, when I ask a question, and you started with the answer, I said, why he's not saying to the day where my William decided to, right, to leave this world for better, but because your purpose was part of that. That was
exactly, yes. I mean,
you wouldn't change that. It's a tough question, but
it's a really tough question. I mean, I think it's happened, and I think my wife and I agree that what we want to do is build a legacy for Will, and that legacy is about changing the whole approach to mental health.
Yeah, we makes sense because we will all die eventually.
Exactly.
But when I pass away, there will be hopefully some kind of legacy. William legacy will be forever, and why not globally?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not globally?
Exactly.
That William is here in this conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you need to make some sacrifice to change the world.
Yes.
It's tough.
It is.
It's tough. So what are your new horizons? Where these new horizons will take you? What's next? What's going to happen in the next 5 years with the foundation? What's your...
Well, we're in negotiations to build with an organisation that's considering supporting the development of the mental health catalyst, and that is currently talking about a 4-year program, and if that comes to fruition, then I think that will give us a foundation for then really scaling this whole idea and making a difference.
Today, it's just in the UK.
Well, the concept of the mental health catalyst that we're talking about is global.
Right.
So very much focused not just on high income countries, but also low and middle income, low resource countries as well.
Latin America.
Latin America, Africa,
right.
And so on. And so we have detailed plans for what we're proposing to do. So subject to the funding coming through, that would be a hugely, I think, exciting and impactful.
It's not rocket science. We need to eat well, sleep well, put away the phone, and socialize with exercise. It's so easy to apply. I mean, it's
a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
But somehow our society has got it into
the wrong direction, let's say.
A very difficult place. Yeah.
So count on me for Latin America to push, to transfer all this knowledge from here, from this very moment that we're here connecting and getting to know each other, to connect some dots, some leaders, some key opinion leaders, business persons in Latin America, which I'm sure they will be able to dedicate time, to dedicate resources, so we can put back on track our society.
That would be marvelous.
Count on me, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for this inspirational conversation. I leave this room totally challenged. I'm conscious that my next food is going to be good food, because I'm good with the phone. I'm not addicted to the phone. I love sports, love socialize, sleep really well. I mean, I'm on the right track. It's easier than I thought, but it's tougher because it's all about mindset.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Eating food, it's easy. Going and buy some quality food versus processed food, it's easy. It's just picking the right food, but it's all about mindset.
It is.
So hopefully this program inspire all of us to be on the right mindset, because that's connected to our mental health.
Absolutely.
Totally. What type of life do we want to live?
Absolutely.
An ambassador in Latin America, totally ready when the plan is ready to move south. We are needed for this inspiration. We're needed to go back on track and take care of our mental health.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Peter, for your time.
Pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful conversation. Yeah. I'm going to do some research. We're going to put on this program links to your foundation, so we can do some research. Anyone who wants to know more and connect with you, they can do it via website.
That'd be great.
¿Qué voy a decir, no? ¿Qué voy a decir de esta conversación? Conceptos simples, conceptos aplicables para todos nosotros, pero parten del mindset. Cómo tener una mentalidad sana, cómo tener una mentalidad donde uno priorice la salud mental por sobre todo. Mente sana en cuerpo sano. Eso es lo que hablamos con Peter hoy. Mente sana primero en el cuerpo sano. Y la mente sana me llevo a estos 4: alimentarnos bien, súper simple. Sociabilizar, súper simple. Hacer deporte y movernos, más hoy que estamos muy sedentarios trabajando desde la casa. Y el 4º concepto, guardar un poquitito los celulares, las pantallas, para poder conectar con el mundo real. Así que desafiados, inspirados, esto es el Viaje del Líder.